Okay, the chair will bring to order the Monday, October 14th, Single Family Design Board meeting to order. Is there anyone in the public wishing to address the board on any item not on today's agenda? Seeing no one come forward, the chair will close public comment and bring it back to the board for approval of our minutes of September 30th, 2019. Do I have a motion for approval?
Make that motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Let's go through it to make sure there are no questions or comments.
What date?
September 30th, 2019.
Yeah. You know what I'm second.
Item number 1, 231 Loyola Drive.
That was postponed.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I'll read the bottom of the thing. Item number 2, 365 El Cielito Road. Item number 3, 691 North Hope Avenue. Item number 4, 981 Coyote Road. That was postponed. Item number 5, 19 St. Anne Drive. Item number 6, 429 East Mitchell-Torrena Street. Item number 7, 775 Calabria Drive. Item number 8, 407 La Marina Drive. Item number 9, 335 Alston Road. Item number 10, 1512 Hillcrest. There are no comment?
That was postponed too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hearing no further comments, the chair will call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So approved. Let's go to the approval of the consent calendar for October 7th.
Apologize, Mr. Chair, going back to the minutes.
Yeah.
There's this motion on regarding 345. Turn on. $335. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I'll stay on.
It says motion DENY. Is that deny or is that a misspelling? Right there. Just looking at that.
Deny the proposal with comments. Is that actually what we did? Yes, I believe that's what you did. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, remove. Yeah.
Let's go to consent calendar for October 7th. Ms. Monson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The consent calendar for October 7th is as follows. Item A, 2620 San Marcans Drive. This project received final approval with conditions. Item B, 871 Deer Path Road. This project was continued indefinitely with comments. Item C, 817 Maria Avenue. This project was continued 1 week with comments. Item D, 1126 Harbor Hills Drive. This project received final approval as submitted. Items A through D were reviewed by Chair Sweeney and Board Member Richards.
Do I have a motion for approval?
I make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Do you have any comments, conversation, questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so carried. Let's go to this morning consent calendar for October 14th. Erica, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The consent calendar for October 14th is as follows. Item A, 565 Yankee Farm Road. This project was continued 1 week with comments. Item B, 817 Morilla Avenue. This project received approval of review after final with comments. Item C, 1808 Mountain Avenue. This project was continued indefinitely with comments. Item D, 2122 Bath Street. This project received project design and final approval as submitted with neighborhood preservation findings met. Items A through D were reviewed by Chair Sweeney and Board Member Richards.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion for approval?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments,
B.
conversation? Yes, Joe.
Comment B, Lisa and I pushed it to the board because we weren't happy with what they were doing.
Yes.
About taking the trellis off the front. Did they,
So what we did is we looked at their proposal to take the trellis off, and they had several reasons they wanted to do it, one of which is obviously money.
money?
And so we had them return this morning with a proposal to put a 2x10 band in place of a trellis that kind of sorts it all out. I went by and looked at it, and
To tie it together rather
tie
than...
it all together, yes. So I thought that was the thing that
That's a
was
good
missing.
solution.
So they provided that and gave us a detail, et cetera. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. Okay, let's go to announcements. Erica, to you first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Couple announcements. An appeal has been filed for the 335 Alston Road project. I'll follow up with more information once a date has been set. There was also the appeal of the 1201 Del Oro Road project, which was denied at City Council on October 8th.
Thank you. Anything else? I'm going to pass out something which, in theory, we all should have, but I couldn't find mine, so then it kind of doubted whether you all had it or not. And sorry, I made them in my home copier, which is running out of ink, so it's not a real great copy. But it's the copy of Chapter 2269 of the Single Family Design Board ordinance, in which that was the ordinance by how this board was established. And I think we may have all gotten this when you first come to the board. They give you a packet of information. I just couldn't find mine, so then I just thought it would probably be good. I did highlight some things for you to look at in consideration, one of which is the neighborhood compatibility issue. So you might want to take for materials, et cetera. You might want to take a careful look at that. But having said all of that, and then given our questions of our last regular meeting, in which some of you were commenting on the training that happened on September 13th, and I'm about halfway through it now, looking at the video. If you want to have a discussion about that and about the issues of neighborhood compatibility, materials, kind of the things that we have talked about, one of which is apparently going to get appealed, we may want to try to request and set an agenda item for that discussion. And as I understand it, I think we operate under the same rules as the council. So if two of us request a discussion item, that means it gets put on the agenda, and I see Irma in the audience. I assume that has to come in writing from us to staff requesting that. So that's something for you all to think about. Given the Brown Act, we're not quite sure how we're supposed to do that to notify the rest of us that the two of us are requesting that, but staff can help us. So if you all want to do it, has everybody besides me been able to finish reviewing the video?
No, I have not.
Okay. So Joe, you might want to, because some of your questions you were asking last week were touched upon in the video, but some of the issues that we have to deal were not touched on the video, I noticed. Like noticing, we have some different criteria than the other two boards. So anyway, you might review this. I did, as I said, yellow some things that were issues that we sometimes struggle with or try to understand in our duties for this board, and particularly the preservation part. There is a neighborhood preservation 2269. That's the whole thing we have to read every time we make a decision. So you might want to read that. Okay.
I do have a question, though.
Yes.
Maybe you could answer it, too, because I noticed here you highlighted the front page.
Those are my highlights.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said item number C, one of whom shall be a licensed architect. But from my understanding, when both of you were gone...
I mean, it just means one licensed architect has to be here.
That's right.
If we're gone,
Got it.
you don't have a quorum. That's
Got
what
it.
happened when we
Right.
missed the meeting.
I just answered my own question.
that's a, you know, that's a criteria. So anyway, so yeah, read this, and I'm sure after you read it, there may be some questions. But
Thank you.
I just recall, I thought we got it when I started on the board, but I couldn't find my copy.
Chair Sweeney,
Yes,
good afternoon.
afternoon.
I just wanted to comment on it, if the board wants to have a discussion on a certain item, I think that you could make that. You can give us that direction now, and we would, try to accommodate that. It would be really helpful to give us maybe some direction as to what you'd like to have addressed so that we can really make it a productive discussion.
Okay.
So if you'd like to put it in writing for us, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah, because I know some of you had questions about, like, how to make a motion, et cetera. It turns out on the other part of the city's website, there is a how to make a motion, and I haven't watched it all yet, video. But I think it applies to the city council. So I'm not, because again, they work under different rules than we do. They don't do Robert's Rules of Order. So again, there is a little thing there. I don't know what it says. I haven't looked at it all yet. And I know there's some questions about that. I know there's been concerns from us about noticing. And we have different criteria for noticing, but Aramark, one of my questions will probably be, if there's some things that we think aren't working, even though it's in an ordinance, how does one go about changing the ordinance? You see what I'm, that's a question. You may not be able to answer that today, but that would be one of the things that we might want to talk about.
Correct, and for that type of a discussion, I would definitely want a city attorney to be
Right.
here so that she could give us some guidance on that.
Yeah, so, what's the process? How do you do it? Whatever. Okay? All right, so with that.
One quick comment on that.
Yes.
I heard on the news, Governor Newsom signed several bills on housing, and I'm just curious, and I know a lot of the bills that are being passed are trying to circumvent or override or take control away from local communities, especially those communities that have strict design codes or criteria. So I don't know if you've heard anything change or develop, or are we just sort of sitting back and hoping for the best, or any new developments?
Well, we are aware of them, and I think right now the city attorney is working with our advanced planning team to kind of decipher that, and definitely that would be something that we'd want the design review boards to get a briefing on.
Okay, thank you.
So, and just to follow up, Brian, I sat in on all 6 hours of the AUD Planning Commission meeting last week.
Wow.
So I think I got a good handle on it.
Thank you.
But in terms of this board,
Awesome.
a lot of the legislation that got signed last week, it was brought up in the meeting, probably doesn't affect our job to some degree.
Okay.
But there is this neighborhood preservation thing that we may have questions on. So anyway, anything else under announcements?
Yes.
Yes.
I will be recusing myself from item 2
Okay.
because they are family members.
Oh, okay. Anyone else need to recuse? Okay, any other announcements from individuals? One thing I forgot to do is we should probably do a roll call. So have that.
Thank you. Chair Sweeney,
Here.
Vice Chair Miller,
Here.
Board Member James,
Here.
Board Member Farrell,
Here.
Board Member Ziegler,
Here.
Board Member Motisha,
Here.
Board Member Richards.
Here.
Okay, thank you. And then subcommittees. Brian, do you have a report on
We
subcommittees?
don't have a report. We should be meeting in November is our next meeting, I believe.
Okay.
17th, coming up. Yes.
Okay, so this is
Next
for
week.
the consideration of awards. Okay. You're
Yes.
working with the other two review.
That's
review
correct.
boards. Okay, thank you. All right, anything else? Okay, if not, then let's go to item number 1, 1512 Hillcrest Road. Welcome. If you could introduce yourselves for the record.
Matthias Pippig, I'm the owner of the property.
Welcome.
Ryan Hessian, West Tech Contractors.
Okay. So this is here for project design and final approval, and I think we had some comments from our last review, first review.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Read those, please.
Sure. Number 1, provide a plot plan showing where the project is located in the neighborhood. Number 2, show details of eave conditions, ridge conditions, rake conditions. Show where the standing seam metal roof and single-ply roof will be located. Number 3, provide details, cut sheets, and colors. Act and taken by James, seconded by Miller.
Thank you. So were you able to respond to those questions?
I did.
Okay. If you could share those with us, please.
This was the proposed roof plan.
Okay.
It's very simple.
And the street is where?
Street would be on this side.
Street's up here.
This is the garage.
Okay.
This is the street side.
All right. I'm just going to do this for you.
On the back side of that shows the plot plan. Shows the lot here.
Okay.
And this is a Google map of where it's located.
Okay. Excellent. Okay.
We were asked to show other standing seam metal roofs in the area.
Okay.
This is the back of the house of the property. I took a photo from that roof down onto 2 adjacent properties down below.
Okay. And they both have standing seams?
Yes, they do, and I noted the addresses in there.
Okay. Thank you.
They asked for a street view.
Okay.
This is looking, I guess it would be south street. This is directly across the street. You can't really see anything. And that would be looking north down Hillcrest. Areas where the single-ply roofing is going to be is obviously all the flat areas. There's some existing single-ply roofing right here. That's going to be replaced with new. This is actually built up. That's going to be replaced with new single-ply.
Okay.
And this is the sloped roof area. It's currently a gray composition shingle. So now it's going to be a gray standing seam metal roof.
Okay.
A couple other improvements. One, this old solar, is it a water heater?
Used to be.
Used to be. This is
There we go,
abandoned.
Uh-huh.
So this is going to be removed, so we're getting rid of an eyesore. This is a rusted out chimney cap we're going to replace with a similar color, same design.
Okay.
These were my original ones that I proposed on my first visit, and this is just street views
Okay.
showing what you would actually see if you were to drive by or walk by as far as what's sloped or what's flat.
Okay.
And this was one of my other originals showing a property that's, what, 3 doors down?
I'm going to have you put it down flat because it's on
Oh, I'm
television.
sorry.
We can all see it on these screens.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you. Okay.
So this is about 3 doors down. It's a neighbor in the neighborhood. That's the address. And it does have a standing seam metal roof on it.
Okay. And then you have some details?
These are details. This is a typical gutter detail with the single ply, just a box gutter.
Okay.
This is a rake condition for the single ply, showing the flashing detail. This is the roof assembly that we propose to put together for high fire.
Okay.
Currently doing this on a project on Romero Canyon Road.
Okay.
It consists of 1 inch of a Firestone Resista polyiso insulation. It's fire resistant. The SAFR Firestone Clad Guard peel and stick with the roofing underlayment, and then the standing seam metal roof on top of that. The one on the Romero Canyon is currently a copper roof, but this is going to be a Kynar painted steel roof. And this has already been approved, and we've already built this at 909 Romero Canyon.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Eric, what else was there? So there was some more. I brought in sample or data literature for this assembly.
Okay. Is that underneath?
There we go.
Oh, it's here. Okay.
This is the PVC flat roof.
Okay.
We're going to put 1 layer of 1/4 inch Densdeck under that for fire, high fire.
That's that guy right there?
That's underneath that.
Okay.
This is the standing seam profile, which is this panel.
Okay,
Right
and
here.
is it 1.5 or 1?
This is the 1.5,
Okay.
1.5. These are metal roof details that were requested. This is a low eave gutter condition. And this is a low eave, just drip edge condition. And this is the peak condition, because it's two slopes, two opposing slopes. That is, looking at that upside down.
That's the
That's an
vertical
end wall condition, that's at the top where the hits the clear story.
Right. Okay.
The pipe flashing typical. That's the underlayment.
Okay. Okay.
That's a sample of the PVC roof.
And is that the color you're
That's the
proposing?
color, the gray, to go with this.
Right. Anything else? That's it?
I think we've covered it all. There's a colored chart in there which just shows this sample.
Right. Before we go to questions and comments from the board, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address this project? Do we get any correspondence here?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no one come forward, the chair will close public comment, bring it back to the board for questions. Anyone have questions?
This whole thing is what you see from the street, basically, the garage, which has a standing seam, or not, which has a built-up roof on it.
Flat.
Flat. So this is hidden back there as it shows in the picture.
Yes, correct.
There's a photograph. There you go. So it's that roof. up
This is what you see from the street, which is basically nothing except for the gutter that's over the garage. There's the standing seam roof. It's towards the back. You can barely see.
What do you see from across the whole valley looking back from Palmer Park? Would it be Palmer Park?
Yeah, you basically can't see the house at all.
Because of the
From the
trees?
very top of Parma, where the picnic bench is,
Yeah.
without binoculars, I mean, you see like this tiny little smidgen of the house.
That's where the reservoir is?
No,
that's
it's
different. Just-
Parma
that's
is
east
down,
of that.
down the road a bit. Down
Go down and go
canyon.
up again.
And then, yeah, so you have to climb all the way up there, but you can't see the house at all. The neighboring house, which is white, is a little bit more obvious. Ours just blends in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? I just have a couple of quick technical questions. So I know you talked about you've done this on another house nearby, but I believe that's in the county, is it not?
It's Montecito.
Yeah, that's Montecito. So the fire guys all have different stuff. So you haven't had this blessed yet by Santa Barbara Fire. That'll be what you're going to do as you go through this process, I assume.
When we apply for the permit, see what they ask for, yes.
Okay. And then you answered the single ply color and the standing seam size. You answered that question, so I don't have any more questions. Other questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, let's go to comments. Who has comments?
I think you did your homework.
Second time around, I got a little more detailed, yes.
Anyone else have comments?
I find it's affordable in this area of town, standing seam.
I would just, one of the reasons I went and looked up the ordinance is to see what they said about our ongoing discussions of roof materials. And one of the things it talks about is, under our districts that we have jurisdiction over, the application involves the replacement of an existing roof covering with a roof covering of a different material or color. So that's squarely in the middle of our requirements for neighborhood compatibility. So I looked at that, and in reference to this particular project, in this particular neighborhood, and given the foliage, given the view from the opposite canyon, from the other side back to this hillside, this is where I would find a compatibility issue of allowing a standing seam to occur here versus, in my opinion, the other side of the Riviera where the entire city looks at it. So I'm comfortable with what's been presented, and I appreciate you coming back with the things that we asked for. That just helps us understand what's going on. It's not like we were trying to pick on you. It's just that when you come before this board, we need to make judgments based on real drawings. And most of the time, we look at the whole big sets of drawings. So having that information is very helpful. Anyone else with comments? If not, then the chair would look for a motion. The applicant's asking for project design and final approval.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The board would like to give this project design and final approval. We appreciate that you have returned to us with the following: the plot map, the details of eaves, rake, ridge, and cut sheets, colors, and details of the standing seam construction. And let's see. We feel that this project meets neighborhood compatibility findings because it is consistent with the scenic character of the city. It is using quality architecture and materials. It follows good neighbor guidelines, and we feel that in this particular neighborhood, it is not visible from the city, and that there is mixed architecture in that area, so it would be appropriate. The hillside findings also indicate that no natural topography has been interrupted, and that the slope lot findings are made as well.
Okay. Thank you. That's the motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Yes, I second that.
Okay. Is there further discussion to the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so carried. Okay. You'll just need to do whatever you need to file with the building department.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
And see Erica, she may need some of this stuff.
You gonna hold on to this before we get the grant?
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks, Eric.
Okay, let's go to item number 2, 231 Loyola Drive. This is a new item, so I'll be reading into the record the project description. This is a proposal for a new, excuse me, before I start, if you could introduce yourself for the record, please.
Jim Davis, architect.
This is a proposal for a new 576 square foot second floor addition to an existing one-story, 1,617 square foot single unit residence with a 471 square foot attached two-car garage. Project includes converting 416 square feet of the existing residence to an accessory dwelling unit, a new covered patio on the first floor, and a covered deck on the second floor. The project total of 2,661 square feet of development on an 8,546 square foot lot in the non-appealable jurisdiction of the coastal zone is 80% of the maximum allowable floor to lot area ratio. No final appealable action will be taken at this hearing. Project requires neighborhood preservation findings. So if you'll share with us what you're proposing.
Absolutely. So here's the existing site plan. The Loyola's on this side. You enter in through the existing driveway, and then the garage is right here. The two-car garage is in this area. These are photos, just for context, that's keyed in here too. So if you go through them all, you can easily see where the vantage point is from. Let's see, most importantly, let's see the street view, 1 and 2. So the second floor addition is going to be back over here. The ADU is this portion of the home, which is being converted. Just for context, the neighborhood photos here are showing just the surrounding neighborhood character and massing. What we've done on this here is we've shown where existing two-story structures are located. so it's not something that is foreign to this neighborhood. There are other two-story structures. Here's a larger view of the site plan. The hatch area, the single hatch, is where the second-story addition will be located. The across the double hatch here is where the covered porch is on the second floor. And then, again, the shaded area over there is just where the conversion for the accessory dwelling unit. We're showing the existing floor plan here, proposed lower floor plan. Stairway is coming up. We're taking up a little bit of the garage, maintaining the two parking spots here. Stairs come up, and then allow for a laundry underneath those stairs as well. And then as soon as you come up, it's a master suite. So we've got master bath, master closet, master bedroom, and then the covered porch on the south side. Existing elevations are on this side. What we've done is we've shown dashed what that second floor massing is going to be looking like. Also in reference, you can see the neighboring structure behind it. And so then we have each of the different elevations again. So from the street, you will be seeing it from this side here. So the whole lot slopes down this direction. So we're kind of stepping it down as we're going down with the existing grade. Here's the existing same elevation, just showing it with more detail. We're matching similar details to what we've got, the double hung windows. We are going to be changing to a different material on the top. We will be using a shingle up there. And that's just to help differentiate just between what was existing and what's new. And that's it.
Okay, Joe?
Oh, actually, I will add one other item. There is an existing tree that has already been approved to be removed. I just want to bring it to your guys' attention. This tree here shows up in all the photos because it's already been approved to be removed and replaced with Arbutus marina. And that's already been approved by the Parks and Recs department. It's doing some decent damage to the garage. They were antsy to get that removed.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
All right, before we go to comments and questions from the board, there was one, I guess this was an email. Did everybody see this? Get a chance to read it? I haven't had a chance, so I may take a minute to look at it. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address this project? Seeing no one come forward, the chair will close public comment. Before I ask Erica, was there anything other than this one?
Just that one.
And while I'm with you, is there anything we need to know on this project?
No, just conceptual review.
On the AD unit, because it's inside the existing residence, we're not able to comment on anything on the exterior, correct?
Correct. The ADU's a ministerial permit. It's inside the coastal zone, so.
Windows or anything else?
Just for reference, the only change on that is a new door that's
Okay.
on the south elevation.
Yeah, I just want to be clear about the rules. Sometimes we confuse, particularly when the ADU is embedded in the house. Okay, then let's go to questions.
Plate heights.
We're going with, let's see here, where is that called out? Do 8-foot plate height for the system. So we're not asking for huge 10-foot plates.
Heather,
Very good.
Is that a sectional door or glass door?
This is the existing door here.
It is existing.
It's wood.
It's wood.
I think it shows up in the photos too, so.
Okay. And the tree that dominates the whole front of the house is going to be removed, that big
Correct. That's the one.
massive tree.
The roots are what's really, this garage door is, it's got a they've got some extra pets in their garage.
Do we have a landscape plan yet showing how the new trees are going to be put in?
It's all been approved
No,
by Parks and Recs. There is no, we're not proposing any new landscape.
No. That's not my question. Are you going to propose a new landscape plan to show us where the trees are? We review the trees and we review the replacement. I'm looking at the ordinance. That's one of the things. It says, the proposed project, landmark tree project, we have to review all this stuff, so.
I understand, but it's already been approved by the Parks Recs.
It doesn't matter. We need a plan here.
Okay,
So that's why I'm asking, okay? I know it's been approved by Parks, but our board has to review where they're gonna go.
absolutely.
Okay? So we need a landscape plan.
Bring that next
So you need to bring that back in. That's why I'm asking the question. Okay? My other question is, you indicated that the top is gonna have shingles, are they wood shingles, or what do you think?
Probably wood shingles.
Wood shingles, and they're going to go all the way around, so we'll
Correct.
see them over here and
Correct.
here and there and here.
Yes.
Okay, and then on the windows on the second floor, the new windows, are they going to be clad windows, or are you replacing windows on the first floor?
We're not replacing the windows on the first floor, so they'll probably be painted wood
So they're going to be a painted wood
to
material.
match what's there.
Okay, to match what's there. And then I assume then that the gutters and downspouts on the second floor roof will match whatever's on the first floor?
Correct.
As well as the roof material, correct?
There are wood windows on the first floor for this house?
Double hung.
Double HUD, okay. Okay.
So they're traditional wood
Wood
double hung,
double.
so that's why I was asking the question. Okay, and then, so none of the windows, where's your photographs?
Back one. Those are the contracts.
So,
See there. On the back side, they didn't do the breakup.
so that's the backside, right? So
Correct.
is this the new one?
That's the new.
Okay, so are these
I
windows?
think I just didn't add actually those breakups on that.
Okay, so those are going to be just like they're shown there. and there. Okay, gotcha, that's what I was looking at. Okay. So they're basically all kind of just staying as they are. All right. All right, and you may have some exterior light fixtures up in here, but you haven't picked them yet?
Haven't picked them yet, no.
Okay, so that'll be what we're looking for. Okay. Other questions? Okay. Comments, while you're doing comments, I need to read this real quick.
Yeah, I have comments. I think it's a really, you really captured the original architecture. The addition's going to look like it was always part of the house. I think you did a very good job of being sensitive to the existing architecture. And the fact that you did give us unusual plate heights for this already established neighborhood. So I think you did a really good job in terms of being sensitive to size, bulk, and scale. The incorporation of the ADU unit is really well done. So I can support this project. My comments.
Thank you.
Other comments? I want to revert back to questions now. I've had a minute to read this thing. So the neighbor was talking about patio cover. What was that?
It's on the back side of the house.
So that's new.
That is new.
Okay, and so that's what, and.
That is showing up on those elevations as well.
And so, let's see, the comment was patio covers will be to be solid. What do you mean by to be solid? Right now, it's going to have a cover on
It
it.
will be solid, have some sort of a membrane on it so water will not pass
Okay,
through
but
it.
you haven't figured out what that is yet?
It'll be just a built-up.
Either built up
membrane.
or a single ply or something? Okay. And so, is there a lot of, I can't tell from the sketch, is there a lot of detail? Are you going to have a little overhang?
No, it's going to be
Elements.
really tight, really simple. We're not, we're
Okay.
trying to just keep it real kind of minimal.
Okay. And then, because of the orientation of this house, you already did your solar thing right here, right?
Correct.
Okay. Right, so that answers that question. Okay, other comments?
I'll make a comment now. Since you've already had your tree removal approved, I think you might consider, if there's a bunch of roots here, you're probably going to have to replant the area when you remove the roots. So it's probably more than just a tree. So.
Plan, it'll be a landscape plan
Yeah.
of some sort, okay. All right. Any other comments? And the chair would entertain a motion. I would suggest that we give some guidance to the applicant about what our expectations are about at least a concept level landscape plan.
I'll make a motion.
Yes.
Let's see. Yes. Okay, so are we here for comments only, or can I actually make a motion?
No, you can't. There is no action we can take. The motion has to be comments only.
Okay, I move to continue the project to the full board with the following comments. The board appreciates the style of the new addition, blends harmoniously with the existing style of the architecture. The size, bulk, and scale is appropriate for the new addition. The board would like the applicant to give us a comprehensive, or a, what did you call it? Concept landscape plan identifying where you're going to be removing and adding new trees. The board would also like to see some more clear detailing of the added trellis in the back, or covered patio. A little more detailing on the windows, the new windows. And clarity on what new roofing material you want to use.
So I would suggest, I'm going to suggest a couple items to your motion.
Okay.
That the designer provide a roof plan.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that when they also return some, so in order to give it design approval, project design approval, that they provide us some indication of lights and colors.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that.
So that's the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there further discussion to the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, so carried. 4:05. We're running a little bit ahead of time, so we'll need to take about an 8-minute break, and we'll be back here at 10 to the hour.
James Carson from Jeff Shelton's office.
Okay.
I'm Diana Ferrari, one of the owners of the property.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
This is a new item, so I'm going to read into the record the project proposal. This is a proposal for a new 1,122 square foot, two-story, single-unit residence with an attached 436 square foot, two-car garage. Project includes a new permeable patio and steel pergola, excuse me. Pergola. Got my Italian. The proposed total of 1,558 square feet of development on a 42,780 square foot lot located in the Hillside Design District is 32% of the guideline maximum floor to lot area ratio. No final appealable action will be taken at this hearing. Project requires neighborhood preservation, hillside design, and sloped lot findings. So if you'll share with us what you're planning.
Yes. Moving to the site plan. So here's the site, Cloudy Road. So you guys have a black and white version. So the site is T-fire rebuild. The outline of the original house.
Try to stay into the microphone, please.
The outline of the original two-story house is seen here. One section of the upper level, and the other section of the upper level is seen here, with a garage and some other spaces underneath. The roof line is this solid line. This usually is a color sheet, but this seems to be black and white. Our proposed 1,122 square foot residence is the dark area. The new residence will be completely in the footprint of the old residence. You guys have seen the photo. So moving forward. We plan to use the existing driveway. It is been approved by fire. So arriving at the house, you would either enter through the garage or through a covered walkway. It's the entrance here. Dining and living, kitchen downstairs with the guest bedroom and bathroom. And stairs up to this lofted bedroom, bathroom, and closet. Roof plan. The lower level, pretty simple. Upper level here. Upper level roof line. We're planning on using corrugated Core 10. And here are the elevations. I brought some color ones if I can show those. Here are these. If everyone wants to.
Sure. Thanks.
So the west side of the building, this is an existing block wall. We're hoping to build this walkway along the edge of it, and then the house just set back from that. This is the front of the house, looking out towards the ocean. And I don't know. That's it.
Okay. Anything else? That's it?
That's kind of it.
Exterior. All right, we'll go to questions and comments in a minute. First, let's, if you have nothing else, then the chair will open public comment. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address this project? Erica, did we get any written correspondence?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do you have a comment, sir? I have a question. Okay, no, you'll need to come up. This is a public meeting. I'm going to need you at some point to fill out one of those yellow slips. But please come on up and you can use this microphone.
You don't have to fill that out now. You can
fill it out later, but you're going to need to fill it out and hand it to Erica at the end. So if
He's the other
if you'll come up and.
owner. Can he come up?
Oh, is he the owner?
No, the man in the blue
Oh,
shirt.
yeah, the man in blue shirt, but for the moment, we're going to have, you can sit here. Now I forgot the procedure. You can sit right here, sir. If you're the owner, you sit right here.
Oh, wait a minute, where's this guy going to sit?
Wait,
Well,
hold on.
let's
just
get
give
to
me-
that point.
Give me a second. So comments actually go to the podium right over here.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. So comments or questions. So if you have a question, if you'll just identify yourself for the record, please. Okay. And speak into the microphone.
My name is Clifford Leva. I'm at the end of the driveway that we're sharing.
Okay.
The question I have is how close the building is going to be to the existing retaining wall that's there.
Okay.
That's the only question I have.
All right. We'll try to get that answered for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Hearing none, the chair will close public comment and bring it back to the board for questions. Joe, you had questions.
Yeah, what's exterior,
Oh, corrugated core 10.
whole thing is corrugated, even
Yeah.
the roof?
Yeah.
Roof and siding?
Yes.
And where is it located?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Where is it located? It was the house that was there was burned out in the
In the T-fire.
T-fire.
Yeah.
And where, you did show where it's
So it's in
compared
the
to where it
footprint.
So
was.
we're going to be within the footprint of the original house.
And the fellow that just spoke, where is his property and compared to yours? He says into the driveway. That didn't tell me anything.
Oops.
You know, didn't you bring the unfolded ones?
They provide the folded ones.
Yeah, we haven't seen the photos. We don't see these drawings until right now. So we haven't seen-
Oh, you said Jeff just gave us unfolded ones.
These are the folded ones. That
Do you
they
have
already
photos of the site?
No,
Yes.
folded is.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
Photos here too, Fred.
Yeah, there were supposed to be 3 copies of this. That's,
Where is the end of the driveway that the fellow just spoke? Come out.
where is the driveway?
So the driveway goes,
The easement through our property goes way down around here. He lives out on the end of this peninsula.
Okay, but excuse me, sir. This is a public meeting. We'll get to the, so, Joe, let me just, because I
Go
went up
ahead.
and looked at the site.
Go ahead.
Here's Coyote Road.
I was up there too, but you can't go down.
Yeah, no, you can't go down. So, but the road going down is here.
Yeah.
The driveway, yes.
Right.
To here.
So there's another road in the canyon that goes this way. Okay.
That's what I'm,
Okay. So that's the road that the gentleman's talking about, and the question, I think, is, you show on the elevations an existing concrete block wall,
Right. I believe that's the one he's talking
and
about.
that's right here. Is that right here or right there? where the dash
It's
line is?
right here.
So it's there.
Yeah.
The dashed line you're showing here represents what? The previous
It
footprint?
would have been part of the previous footprint. It may need to be moved over a little
Okay,
bit.
so
yeah.
somewhere in there is the previous footprint.
Right.
So that block wall is going to be basically where it is today, is it existing?
And it's existing.
we have a
The
photograph
old,
of it?
yes. The old house was, at least one wall of it was built directly on top of that wall. I believe this line is referring to a deck that
that it?
overhung off of the wall.
Is that it right there, or is that another wall?
There should be a photo.
Oh, it's this wall.
That one.
Okay, so that wall is where you're going to try to build on top of today.
The walkway
The
may be
walkway
above
part,
it.
I
Yes.
understand that, but
Yeah.
you're building a covered walkway on top of this thing. The way I read the drawings, there's be some columns there, correct?
Right, yes.
Okay. And structurally at this point, do you know if that's still stable? and-
We still need to find out from a structural engineer.
You don't know yet? Okay.
Not sure.
But the idea is to try to hold
That's,
on to it?
yes.
how
Okay.
far is it from
There
that
there.
wall
Let's
to,
Hold on the scale. Let's see, what do we got? 1 inch equals 20 feet. So let me go to a 1 inch, 20 feet thing. And at the closest, at this end of the house, it
Should be in here.
looks like it's 9 feet to there and about 17 feet there. So it's no different for where it is today. It's the same wall. Okay?
and where's the flow line for the water that comes down through that canyon? Is there a flow line, is there any amount of water that comes through, down from up there down?
From up here down here, this way.
Oh, this is obvious. I'm talking about
I think,
collecting water.
I mean, wouldn't it go down the center here?
Okay, well, so I think maybe Joe's question has Creeks reviewed this and determined whether or not it's a creek element or not?
No, I haven't reviewed it.
Yeah, not
They
yet.
haven't reviewed
The
it.
creek is
quite a ways over to the right,
Right.
like 30 feet, and it's 30 feet down. It's very steep up there.
Okay, because
Ours is up, kind of up two platforms.
I understand that, but sometimes what we find out is Creeks has a different opinion about where we think creeks are. Sometimes they say, yeah, that's a creek when there's
Right.
water in it, and sometimes we find out, no, it's not a creek. So that's why we're asking.
So the solution would be verify with creeks.
Yeah. And if it's a defined creek, then there's a distance you have to be back and all that stuff. So
Great.
it's just an exercise you need to go through.
What is this? I'm sorry, I can't read upside down. What is this right here?
This is a driveway that serves another property here
up
that's
there.
burned down.
So that easement that comes down, that goes to this fellow's here, comes from all the way up from the road, way down
Yeah,
here.
down the road technically, but yes.
Comes by. So,
Then this cuts in, this is into our property easement for him. His easement goes through here, and he's out there.
okay. And your property goes into an easement is that a property line right here?
So there's an easement here, right? For you?
Yes, for the house back here, 1001 Mountain Drive, Coyote Road, I believe.
So this one only serves those two?
Yes, this driveway.
I'm just finding out where I was up there. I walked up here, and you have a trailer right now that's just temporary trailer down there.
yes,
I
I just
assume, where is
noticed
that? Approximately, where is it located?
Right here.
Right in there,
Yeah,
okay.
on what's existing of the driveway, or what's left of it.
So the house is going to be to the south of that temporary trailer?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, other questions?
Yeah, I have one. How close is the closest structure or residence to your proposed house?
500 feet.
Oh, okay.
Well,
There's a little.
Well, there's nothing there.
there's
currently.
nothing here.
That's a burned out lot.
That's burned out.
Where's the next?
He's straight back here. He's got a little 600
house.
square foot house right back here.
Here
I think
or
it's-
off
it's
the sheet?
off the sheet.
Does these photos help you, Jonathan? There's a list of existing property here.
The house we're talking about is off this sheet.
House is going right there and coming down here and turning into it.
Other questions?
Yeah. I have a question.
Robert.
Are there any other site improvements, or like going to build a deck, or any landscaping?
There's the proposed permeable patio at the front of the house.
Is that on another drawing?
360 square feet on the drawing. Just it's a
So it's here?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. In the material or? what do you think?
Undecided yet, but permeable.
And then I had just a couple technical questions. Are you going to have, you kind of show, but it looks like there's something here. Looks like a Jeff Shelton
gutter.
detail, gutter.
Gutter, I
So are you
believe.
going to have gutters and downspouts?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know yet whether you have to do a tier level water retrieval? plan?
No, we were going to verify with creeks, I believe.
And then given high fire and given you're doing core 10, et cetera, what's your thought process on the underside of these eaves?
We're hoping to do steel eaves, depending on budget,
Okay.
to be detailed still.
Because that's in a high,
Right,
in
high
high
fire.
fire, we all know that's where the fires start, is under those
Exactly.
eaves. And then you have, are you going to ice-nean, or are you going to ventilate these attics or roofs, or have you even thought about that yet?
I haven't thought about it yet.
Okay, and then just the other general, let's go to your color drawings. Is everything going to be the same core 10 color,
At this point, I
roof and
believe.
sides?
We didn't decide that for sure. We originally thought Core-10,
Uh-huh.
and now because of cost, we may do cement siding and just Core-10 roof because we like the look of that. We like the look of this, but we may have to not be able to afford the siding
Okay.
to be Core-10.
The only reason I'm asking is there's two examples that you can see in Santa Barbara. There's a little house on Salina Street that has a corrugated green roof at the corner of Salinas and it's the street that goes up to
Then
Cleveland.
Aylin's building.
And then Aylin's building on the corner of, what is that, Anacapa and
Kind of an inspiration for us. I used to teach his daughter.
Yeah, okay. His father was my very, very close friend, his painting partner. He's not here anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I was asking a question, because there's some examples around of what you
Yeah.
want to do, and I was trying to get a figure out where you're headed.
Yeah,
Okay.
Great.
And they seem to always use this green trim color too. It's Jeff's thing too. It's like that if you have Corten, you must use this green.
Jeff has his criteria.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. So Erica, today we're only allowed to give comments? Correct?
Yes, that's correct. And also, Chair Sweeney, can we just have the second owner introduce himself for the
I'm sorry.
record?
For the record, if you could just state your name.
I'm Daniel Lauer.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay. Anything else? If not, then the chair would entertain a motion. Oh. Oh, I was making comments. Go ahead. Finish your comments. Sorry. Go ahead.
I really like it. I love the approach. I think it's very appropriate for this kind of landscape, unless you want to do Spanish two-mission tile, but
Right.
due to budget concerns, I think this is a great
Yeah.
approach to go.
Thanks.
Because of the high fire risks up there. So I really look forward to seeing more detailing on terms of the actual material you'll use in terms of siding and the roof.
School teachers.
The microphone.
Oh, we're not even connected. So, so I can support the project. I think the approach you're going and the style is really kind of cool and supportable.
This is all going to be, comment. I like the fact that this is all two-story here. It's all-
Bless you.
So
Well,
you
this
stand
is
right in there,
from
you'll look.
all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look all the way through there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's looking south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited about it because 10 years ago when I built my house, I wanted to do one in Corten steel. And my architect said no. He used some arguments. He said that pinholes and you'll get water seepage in it. So that was his argument. So I didn't do it. But boy, I'd love to see one complete. And the more Corten you can use, the better I'll like it.
The house behind that's 600 square feet, I think Jeff knew them long ago and helped him out. And it's a little tiny house, but it's Corten, and it's really kind of cool.
Looks like the top floor of this,
Yeah.
basically.
Thank you.
Glad somebody's
Other
doing it.
comments?
Yes, I find it's very supportable, considering the fire risk there and that you're using the same footprint. I went down and looked, and I really think it's a very workable solution and aesthetically very appealing.
So I'll just have a couple more comments. One is on the south-facing glazing. Make sure you talk with your boss, et cetera, about how that's going to accept sun. Because it's going to get
Baked.
Great
Yeah.
point. It's a great point.
Especially
He-
up there.
So-
I want it longer, and he's concerned about it too.
Okay,
It's
so
gonna get baked.
that's just a question. The other thing, I agree with my colleagues, I think this is a great solution. This is also an example of the thing this board really works to try to get people to think about, and that's smaller houses.
Yes.
We see some really big stuff here, and most of the time, we really struggle. So we appreciate the fact you're approaching it the way I think many of us would like to see. So with that comment, the chair would entertain.
Can I make another comment?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Make sure you design in appropriate cross ventilation because metal is going to get hot.
He's concerned about that too.
Okay.
Okay, with that comment, is any other comments? If not, then the chair would entertain a motion, comments only.
I have another question.
Public comment is done, I'm sorry.
Well, I never got the answer, though.
That- We told you the answer. The wall is where it is today. So it's between 9 and 17 feet from the existing road. That's the answer. Sir,
There's a driveway on the
Sir,
left.
sir.
that Overtrudes the driveway.
sir, that's the end of the comments. This will be back before us at another date. You can ask comments at that point. Okay, thank you. All right. The chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
I'd like to entertain a motion that we continue this project for the full board. And board is in full agreement that we like this project. You might, when you come back, decide what is going to be deciding.
Right.
And show a little bit more detail, lights, exterior lighting, exterior downspouts and gutters. And, yeah, that's my,
I'm going to suggest to your motion you add that we also get a determination of the level of stormwater management so that we can see how you're going to solve that problem.
Great.
okay.
And secondly, we would encourage you, when you come back, since your landscaping appears to be minimal, that you share with us your fire prevention approach.
Okay.
And not in the motion, but last Sunday in the LA Times, there was an excellent article on fire approaches to when you're in the situation you're in. You might take a look at that article. It's very helpful.
I think this, not in my, just a comment, I make a comment. This whole piece of property basically has a lot of easements on it. Everybody's. So, like Mr. Sweeney has commented, where's that water go to?
Okay.
And so it doesn't damage or do anything to the other easements that are crossing this property. You know, even though there was a house there before.
That'll be part of their stormwater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's my.
Right, that's your motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion?
I second it.
Okay, does everybody understand the motion, or do we need it reread?
We should have it reread.
Okay. Mary, can you reread the motion, please?
So the motion is to continue the project 2 weeks back to the full board with the following comments. Show siding detail, show exterior lighting, downspouts and gutters, provide a stormwater management plan, and provide a fire prevention approach.
All right. Everybody agree with the motion? Joe, is that what you said? Okay. Any further discussion to the motion on the floor?
Chair Sweeney,
Yes.
I just want to clarify, it's going to be continued indefinitely, not 2 weeks. Because if they come back for project design approval.
Need a second.
Okay. Right? Everybody clear? Okay. Hearing no further comments, all in favor
We
signify
need
by
a
saying
second.
aye.
We need a second.
Aye.
Aye.
I don't think we had a second.
Did we have a second?
No.
Yeah,
Brian
Brian.
seconded.
Yeah, I seconded.
Oh, okay, Brian.
Sure.
Hey, I forgot you were here.
Then we will see you back here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Live on the property before and that lose your home, or did you get it after the home had been?
That's me.
Did you live on the property previously? Okay, I was just curious. It was your home or the plan there?
Do you want your pictures back? You can take
Oh, it's a beautiful project.
We're, folks,
It's so Jeff.
excuse me,
It's
folks,
perfectly Jeff.
we're
Yes,
done
all
with
of
the
it.
item, please. We are running, again, 5 minutes ahead, so we need to take a break. We'll return at about 20 after the hour. Chair will bring back to the order the Monday, October 14th, Single Family Design Board. We're on item number 4, 25 St. Francis Way. This is a new item. Do we have a representative? Welcome. If you could introduce yourself for the record, please.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Scott Branch, architect for the project.
Okay. Welcome.
Based on the last project I just saw you guys do, I want to change the whole thing to Core 10.
See how that goes. All right, I'm going to read, because this is a new item, I need to read into the record the project description. This is a proposal to construct a new detached one-car garage on a lot with an existing 3,449 square foot single-unit residence with an attached 480 square foot two-car carport. Project includes new flagstone walkway and alterations to existing garden walls. Project is requesting a minor zoning exception to allow the trash enclosure to encroach into the required interior setback. Proposed total of 4,887 square foot of development on a 28,247 square foot lot is 102% of the guideline maximum floor to lot area ratio. No final appealable action will be taken at this hearing. Project requires neighborhood preservation findings. So if you'll share with us what you're doing.
First of all, I want to apologize for the project data that was put together on the plan. Staff took this. This is all gross footage, so their FAR, we're not 102%. We're actually at 95% of the FAR, although it's just a guideline, but I just wanted to clarify that. So essentially, what the owner wants to do, they have I don't know if you guys are familiar with the site, if you've been there or not, but when you come up St. Francis Way, the front of their property is completely hedged. I brought several other photos that the board could see to lay out the point. But what they want to do, they need a one-car garage. So they currently have the property currently has no garage. It's got a carport. So basically, I just wanted to add a one-car garage down in this front area, which currently is just, there's a garden wall that comes across here, and it comes out to here, and then has this opening to their existing trash area, and this wall here. So what we're proposing to do is fit we had a survey done so that we know where the setback is. We've got the one-car garage put in right here. We'll make some adjustments to the existing garden walls, which are actually quite interesting. They're a slump stone with an interesting sort of woodwork on top of them. So we'll alter those, and there was a planter here that we're going to have to remove. But we'll alter this existing garden wall to come into the new garage here, and then to add a new gate, new bit of wall here for this trash enclosure. This trash enclosure is what is triggering the minor zoning exemption that we've applied for. It fits well within the site and is completely screened. We're proposing all the materials to match the existing house. It's pretty simple little structure. The existing house has board and bat siding with a standing seam roof. There's a huge tree out in front of the area, so we had to do an analysis of the backup to make sure that it fits there, which it does. And so it's pretty simple in its architecture. Just board and bat. And all the materials, like I said, all the materials would match the existing house, the colors, the materials, and at this point we're here for conceptual review. This is the concept. The existing house doesn't have muntins on the windows. But I kind of liked on the garage door here, I kind of liked the effect of these, how they tie in with, if you see pictures of the woodwork here, somehow that just seemed to fit a little better aesthetically. Beyond that, that's really it. Standard details for the standing seam roof and the windows. It's kind of just a simple structure to be out in front of their place, which is completely screened by the street, by the way. I think that's it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address this project? Erica, did we get any written correspondence?
No.
No? Seeing no one come forward, the chair will close public comment and bring it back to the board for questions. Who has questions? Yes, Lisa.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. What kind of tree is it that is near the two driveways? And
That is I've forgotten the name of it. We had, it's currently paved up to, if you can see that edge of pavement right there, that's existing. We're not choosing to alter that at all. And I don't remember the name of that tree, I'm sorry, but
you have photos? We could probably.
yeah, it's probably in the photos.
So you won't be disrupting the root system as
No, we're
I'm
well
going
aware,
with that.
excuse me, we're well away from that
Okay.
in terms of any excavation. The
Very
paving for the driveway is already there, and we're planning to situate the building.
I need to keep you on the microphone.
Sorry.
Thank you.
We're planning to situate the building such that the paving doesn't need to be altered out
Paving
here.
around the tree is already there.
It's already there.
Driveway does go around that tree.
That's correct.
At present.
That's correct.
Okay, other questions?
Now, is there no other option for this trash enclosure, such as putting the Marburgs in the garage, in the carport, or to avoid the zoning request?
If that becomes something that the city wants, we can do that. It's to be honest, it's existing right now.
Oh.
So I'm proposing to make it legal and to integrate it such so that it's got a gate, so it's got an ease of
I see.
access. So
Other questions? I want to follow up on Jonathan's point. So you've got a note here that says new wall and gate, but you then just indicated that some of this is existing, so is that the existing wall that I saw?
yes,
So what's existing?
this is existing. That and that are existing.
Okay, so we need to note that. Okay.
So
And this piece from here is new?
That's correct.
Okay, and it's the style and design matches the walls that are there now?
Yes, it'll be the same slump stone wall with wood on top and a wooden gate.
Okay, let me go back to your other plan here. Is this a shared driveway easement?
Yes, and it comes up to
Okay.
another
And right
place up
here, you have indicated a roof element over this, a carport that appears to go over that line. Is that a problem?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
That's existing and legal to my knowledge.
Okay, and so the property line is over here?
That's correct.
Okay, so we have a side setback line somewhere in here, right? Is that 10 or 6 feet, do you know?
Yes, I have kind of.
Or is that this?
I've been using this as
That-
my line to work backwards from.
Probably need to clarify that in the drawing, because that's your front yard setback.
Correct.
To show us where the side one is. Okay. Erica, this is a question for you. They have an existing two-car carport. They're going to retain that. Does that meet the zoning requirement for parking?
That they're proposing an extra
No.
parking?
The
or-
existing two-car carport, does that meet their zoning requirement for covered
Yes.
parking spaces? So the request for this new garage is just an additional covered
Correct.
space? Okay. And then, are you going to alter landscaping because
No.
of this project?
No, this is, well, other than.
There now.
Other than it being occupied by a structure, so I guess that's a yes. But if you look at the pictures, it's just, it's mostly dirt.
The reason I'm asking is my landscape colleagues on this board may want to see some Landscape Solutions. So is this a new walkway here?
Yes, new flagstone walkway, just
here
from here to
there.
this point.
Okay, so
This is existing.
So that's new.
That's correct.
This is new. And that little piece is new?
That to there.
Okay. So those are all new pieces. So you're going to disturb whatever is here because you're putting a building in there. Okay.
That's correct.
All right. The other thing I noticed is we have a hedge ordinance in Santa Barbara. And hedges on the front lot line without approval of this board or staff are limited to 8 feet. I didn't have a tape measure with me yesterday when I was at the site, but that hedge or tree line looks way higher than that. And it appears to be a hedge. And one of the ongoing struggles is, when does a tree become a hedge? When does a hedge become a tree? So that's what I can't tell, but I think that it's going to need to be looked at. It may be just a matter of trimming it back down to 8 feet. There is a hedge ordinance, and you probably should look at that. And then my last question, and you may not have an answer yet because this is here for concept. Light locations. Most people on remote garages want to put lights out here by the garage doors. You probably have to have a light by that door.
Absolutely.
So what are those going to look like? And then colors, if they're going to match the existing house or whatever they're going to be. You'll want to see that.
Sure.
Okay. And then I'd like my colleagues to weigh in on the landscape questions. Anyone else have questions?
There's a good shot in here of the building site taken from the porch of the house for.
Is that it?
No, that's up above.
We need to show it on the camera.
Yeah. There's one.
Let's turn around.
That's taken from the side. Okay, here's a good shot. This is taken from a little bit past the building site, looking up towards the house.
So is that the walkway we see on the plan?
Yeah, that's the walkway. So you can see it's going to be
The
going.
footprint is in here.
The footprint is in this dirt area here.
Okay. So there's some kind of landscaping in here.
So there's a little bit of bark and gravel stuff happening over here.
Okay. Right.
But the disturbance to anything living is quite minimal.
Okay, and so the wall that's coming down is right here, right?
That's correct. That's the little planter that has to go away.
So this is coming down, and that's where you're going to.
And it's going to be going right here.
Insert that, okay. Right?
And so the new wall will match this slump stone and this wood pattern above it.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, just,
Yes,
so
Jan?
the trash can enclosure is going to be that slump stone with the wood on top?
Well,
over here to the right?
It's around the corner, and I don't think that it has the wood on it. I think it's a few courses lower than that.
Yes, it
existing,
is. There is no wood on it.
And there's no wood on it.
Okay.
Okay. Are there questions? Okay. If not, let's go to comments. Anyone have comments?
I knew
Here
you
for
wanted
comments on-
comments regarding the landscape situation, but as far as I could tell, it was really hard to see in from the street, because I went out and looked, so unless you're seeing something I'm not, Robert, you want to weigh in?
It seems like he's building a new garage over what was just kind of a dirt area, so I don't know that you're really impacting a lot. It's kind of my take on it.
Okay.
I was a little curious how you're going to integrate in the new concrete with your existing concrete, but I guess you're just going to have to fill in where you don't have it to make it up to the new garage, is that?
Yes, the idea is to just get it within the grade to come up to the existing asphalt that's right there. Is that what you're talking about?
It indicates you have existing concrete driveway.
This material here.
Yeah, the existing, I'm sorry, the existing concrete.
All right, other comments? Okay, if not, if there are no other comments, then the chair would look for a motion with comments to give the applicant some guidance and an indication whether it should turn to the full board or consent.
I'll give a motion. I move to take, this can go to consent with the following comments. I'd say, let's say a preliminary landscape plan, not preliminary, but conceptual, what's that word you used? Conceptual landscape plan surrounding the garage to clarify anything disturbed, removed, or being transplanted or added. A little clearer labeling in terms of what's existing and new, the walls surrounding the trash enclosure.
Yeah, okay.
I'd like to see a cut sheet of the lighting fixtures and their locations on the elevations. Does this qualify for a tier stormwater management?
You'll have to answer that question.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's less than 500 square feet, I believe.
Okay, all right, very good. Color board, we'd like to see a color board. And details of the garage door. Okay, that's my motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Let's see. Question to Erica, so we get the motion correct. The minor zoning exception is for the trash enclosure. This is not something that has to go to the staff hearing officer, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so when it comes back, we will be making a determination of whether the trash enclosure is in the appropriate location or not. And what we're saying by this motion is that determination won't come to the full board, that'll go to the two consent reviewers. Okay, everyone understand? So that's the nature of the motion. Okay, anything else? So do we have a first and second? Yeah. Okay, so is there further clarification?
I have a quick comment. I think on your plan, you should indicate where new versus existing paving is happening, because they're probably going to require that for the stormwater analysis.
Clarify existing and new hardscapes.
Okay.
Okay. Any further comments?
Setback lines indicate setback lines that we haven't found the easements through that easement.
Okay.
Okay, hearing no further comments to the motion on the floor, the chair will call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? So carried. We'll see you at consent. Whoops.
Thank you very much.
We're trying to switch over. Okay. And we're at, we're way ahead now. So we're going to be at item number 5. Let's reconvene at about, at 5 minutes to the hour. Okay? Microphone's off. Back to order the Monday, October 14th, 2019 Single Family Design Board. We're now at item number 5, 633 Allen View Drive. Do we have representatives, please? You could introduce yourselves for the record.
Chris Cottrell, architect. That's Rob Hunter, owner.
Okay. If I can have you come and sit up here.
These are support letters. I think 15 copies there.
Okay. If I can have you sit, sir, can I have you sit here? Are you going to?
Oh, sure.
Be part of the, just
Absolutely.
introduce yourself for the record, please, into the microphone. Okay.
My name is Robert Hunter.
Thank you. Welcome. Since this is a new item, I'm going to read into the record the project proposal. This is a proposal for a 344 square foot of additions to the first floor and a new 785 square foot second story on an existing 1,415 square foot single unit residence with an attached two-car garage. The project includes remodeling the existing 419 square foot two-car garage, including a 204 square foot addition, and a new 154 square foot second story deck. The proposed total of 3,150 square feet of development on a 10,091 square foot lot in the Hillside Design District is 84% of the maximum allowable floor-to-lot area ratio. No final appealable action will be taken at this hearing. Neighborhood preservation findings, hillside design, and slope lot findings are required. So if you could share with us what you're planning to do.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This site, Island View Drive, this is a slow ridge. So this drops down on both sides. This is the house right here. It's this lot right there. And you can see the garage right there. We are, I've shown the existing house footprint. Let me just orient us. Here is Island View Drive on this side. We've got a front yard setback of 30 feet. So no, just cosmetic changes on what is encroaching in the front yard setback on the first story. This darker line is the second story addition. So we're stepping back from the street. We're not looking at this today, but just to give you a frame of reference, this other dash line is a future second story ADU. So the project that we're talking about today is this first story addition and then the garage below. Let's give you some photos of the site. So street view, looking up towards the house. There are a couple other two-story houses on Island View. And then here's just some more views of, these are our neighbors. This is 627, 638. This is 633. It's got a standard tract house. This is that section that is in the front yard setback by just a couple feet. So this is, we're just going to be cleaning up rather than going through a modification to actually change that. We'll change the entry procession. Right now you pull into the driveway and that's the only entry to the main stair. So we'd like to open this up, stucco this wall, open this up with a path that gets to the front from a pedestrian entrance. You want to see some
No,
more?
go
You
on.
good? Thank you. Demo plan. The garage is set back. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Chair.
I'm going to have you talk one at a time, please. The sidebars, we need to be up here, okay? Thank you. It gets confusing for the television people watching this. Go ahead.
Okay, the current garage is set back fairly significantly from the main house. It's almost missing it on the back. So I'll show you in the site plan where we're going to demolish that and then start the garage closer towards the street. Okay, and then on A11's ground floor plan. Again, this is that front yard setback. No changes to this, just cosmetic. We're going to switch from 3 windows to 4 at this little box bump out and get 3 windows over here as well. Interior stair. Again, this is a stair up to the ADU, but that is a future discussion, I guess, not with this board. We've got our 20 by 20 garage in back, and then Rob is a big woodworker, so we'll do a shop behind the garage there. Pocketing door off to the back. This house is situated, and this whole hillside is situated so that the views are really 45 from the house rather than in this line. Second story plan, second floor plan, master bedroom, master suite on top, little laundry room and some linen up there. But this master is meant to get views. There is a deck off the back. It is well away from both side yard setbacks and tucked into this house. And then a couple elevations. Staff asked us to put a line around where the ADU is going to be, so we're really looking at this master addition in the middle. We're looking at going with a kind of a warm craftsman, shingle siding, shingle roof, craftsman details, double hung windows, garage door that's not all glass. I know that's been a point of discussion in the past. I think very minimal plate height, so we're just doing 8 foot floor to floor on both floors. Yeah, unless Rob, you have anything to add?
Just that the garage is going down in elevation.
Oh yeah, we are sinking the garage.
So that it doesn't get as high on that side.
I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry, I shouldn't interrupt.
And
No question.
Okay.
Great.
Right. Okay, before we get to questions and comments to the board, is anyone in the audience wishing to address this project? Erica, we've just got handed a letter?
Yes.
So this letter is from?
My neighbor to the north.
Okay, so let's see. So they're at 639, correct?
Right,
Okay.
and it's a support letter.
They're uphill from this.
So they're the uphill side.
That's correct.
Okay. Right, any other communication?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Right, seeing no one else come forward, the chair will close public comment and bring it back to the board for questions. Who has questions?
You're loading the garage, does that mean the second story is going to be above the ADU that you're putting above the garage? I mean, the floor levels. Are they going to be the same? Like on here, it shows the same.
Yes, so yes.
You're going to have a higher ceiling in the garage.
That's correct. Yep.
Show me the. Okay, so this is the ceiling now where it was at 8 feet, and probably down below at that time.
That's the finished floor line, right?
Yes.
It drops to here.
Drops down there.
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to be a higher ceiling in the garage. The ceiling, or the floor level of the ADU will be the same as the second story addition.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. We've got a decent floor to floor. We've got we have 110 floor to floor, just because we have a span inside that we need to fit a beam in. So rather than dropping a beam in, we're keeping that whole ceiling clean.
So you're raising the second floor is going, instead of standard 1 foot,
We got,
you're
we got
raising
10
it almost
inches,
2
yep.
feet.
Yeah, we've got extra 10 inches, yeah. So I guess, instead of asking for 9 feet, we're asking for 8 feet, but we've got a floor packed sandwich of 110 to fit a beam in there.
Well, that floor space of 1'10", is that added ceiling in the first floor, or is it just dead space in the middle?
No, that's added ceiling. That's getting the first floor a little bit higher ceiling than 8.0. So that's going to
that's
give
what
it,
that's what I'm talking. So now we have a plate height that's basically higher than 8 foot. You've raised the plate height in the existing house.
In parts of it, yes. In parts of it, in the great room, the main center core. Yeah.
Well, it's the whole second floor is all that 1 foot 10
Second floor would
inches.
start on top of that, 18 inches. Yep. But the existing first floor, we're not touching this. This volume stays how it is
Over
on
there,
this section.
over
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
So only the part that's
You got it.
second floor here.
Correct.
and-
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, other questions?
Surprised what you find out if you asked a couple of questions.
Okay. I have several questions, but if somebody else has questions, okay. Let's see, just some basic site plan stuff. Back to your aerial Google Earth, whatever it is. I was out there yesterday, but only looked at it from the street and the sidewalk. that tennis court's on somebody else's property, right?
That's correct. That's
What's-
this parcel
okay,
here.
So what's more or less the differential in elevation between these two things? The drop what?
I would say that there's probably 6 or 8 feet.
Okay.
Maybe probably closer to 6.
Okay, so it drops me, okay. And then, you talked about the front setback having a problem, and then you were gonna adjust it, but I guess I didn't catch that.
Oh,
How
yeah,
are you gonna do
sure
that?
thing, Mr. Chair. So the setback is 30 feet.
Yeah.
So if we are going to make any changes to the footprint, we have to go through get a modification.
Right,
So
right.
we're going to keep that. There is no change to that part of the house. You can change windows.
And then you won't need a modification?
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And so that then leads me to, you have a photograph of the front of the house?
Yes.
Thought I saw
The
that
second
somewhere.
page here. Let's fold it over.
Okay, so there's the front.
Yep.
So when I go to your new, I'm just trying to understand what you're changing and not changing.
So if you can see these 3 windows here, we're just changing that to 4.
So that's these 4.
That's correct.
Those 3 are
Those are-
what they are today?
No, there's 2 of them right now.
Okay, so you can change those to 3.
Yeah.
And you're gonna make these double hung, those double hung. And then the front door goes away.
No, front door's still there.
Same.
Yep.
But is it gonna be the same front door?
No.
We'll change the, yeah.
So it's gonna be a new front
New front
door
door.
with a, okay, and this, with that little piece of brick that's there goes away, right there.
Let's see, what is
There,
that?
that is brick, because there's other homes on the street.
Little
They're all
veneer
built-
on the front, yes.
They're all built
Nope.
the same way.
No exterior brick.
Okay, so
Yeah.
brick goes away,
Yeah.
okay. And then the fireplace element, right now, that's a brick fireplace.
Yep.
What do you,
That fireplace is going to get redone. We can't keep that one and
Okay.
extend it.
so this is gonna be plaster, or what do you think?
Well, we're looking at that. We'll probably end up using the same cladding.
And you don't have a.
We don't have a
what you're
cap
gonna
on
do
it
there
yet.
Okay, and then this window,
It's halfway up the stair landing.
okay, that was the other thing I was gonna ask, let's see if I can understand. So that window is that window right there. So that's halfway up, so the position of this window is at a point you can stand there and move the casement up and down.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. All right, and then, so just logistically, the ADU is gonna be built at the same time as this project?
I think that's the plan.
Okay, I
think,
mean,
yeah.
there's not gonna be a period where this side of the house will have something
Correct.
different?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so even though we're not allowed to comment about this, I just wanted to understand the sequence.
That's correct.
So there probably won't be a time where that end is
Chopped.
chopped, okay. And then, you haven't had time to figure out light fixtures, all I see one here, what those might look like.
Probably go with something that's craftsman.
And then,
Sorry.
windows and doors, oh, roof ventilation. I noticed over on that end, typically, in this style, you would see that as a louvered thing.
Mhm.
How are you gonna do, have you thought about that?
I don't know if we've gotten to that level yet. Probably depends on our.
Do licensing
Yeah,
or whatever you
exactly.
do, okay. And then, this big tree, unbeknownst to me, you guys are the landscape guys, I thought that was an olive. Yeah, what is that? Is that staying there? Is that big tree staying? I don't know what it is. Anyway, are you gonna keep the trees? I guess that's the question.
What's your plan with that tree?
Yeah, they're,
These two?
yeah.
No,
Oh,
in the
sorry,
front,
up front,
the
up front.
yard.
Yeah.
There's a big tree right there.
Oh, right.
So that's.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that.
Okay, and so these, you don't have this drawn, but you talked about this getting plastered, so we don't know what that stair looks like yet?
Or it'll be, we're anticipating doing that out of sandstone, like a battered sandstone wall instead
Oh,
of a
okay.
plaster.
You can here, but
Yeah.
the rest of this would be plaster?
No, it'll all be
All sandstone.
all sandstone.
Okay. The only reason I ask is we've had some people come in and want sandstone and a lot of things, and then they come back for
Well,
review
because of
after
price.
final because it's so damn expensive, they want to do something else. Okay, that's why I asked. Okay, and then, right now, you don't have a landscape plan for any of this.
Right.
Or exterior landscape lighting yet, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then, let's go to the deck. Let's see, I'll pay attention to the deck. So the way I'm reading this, do you have a roof plan?
The second story plan should show.
So that's a deck, that's here. Do we have a section through here? What's this look like?
Yeah, that's where,
That's here.
that's correct. So it's just a little outdoor, I want to see on the first floor plan.
You have a 3D?
No, I don't think we put it on that. Those posts are holding up that little trellis. So this has got half solid covering and then half
Okay,
trellis.
so you're spanning that with one big beam?
We are spanning that. Well, it's also getting one here. So we've got a beam here and a beam there.
All right, okay. And then this is one of these big doors.
Pocketing doors, yep.
Pocketing doors,
Yep.
okay. And then, that's going to be a comment. All right, I think that answers my questions. Okay, other questions?
Yeah, real quick question. The existing garage floor, you're matching that for the new garage floor?
No, the new garage is getting pushed down.
Oh, okay, yeah. put that-
And is the shop elevation drop down to the same level as the garage floor?
We have no, because the rear grade, we'd have some serious grading issues. So
that's gonna be the difference.
Yeah, we got to step up to it. That's going to be its own. It's two different elevations there.
Okay.
I'm just counting steps.
Yeah.
You need at least 17 to 18 steps, right? Risers.
Yeah.
Going to have enough headroom to get in there?
That's the goal for sure. We got a step on there, so there's also a step on the landing.
Oh, you got to, okay, I didn't see the angled one. You're going to put an angled one right
No, that's
there.
just a cut line.
That's
There's just a
cut
straight
line.
step on the landing.
You laid out one.
You'll have a step here.
Yeah.
Step there, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And you're having an exterior, this is the exterior to the
ADU.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's, yeah, this is going to be the same height. Yeah. No, it's going to be that much more.
The grade goes up back there, so we get to lose a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions? Yes, Lisa.
Yes, thank you. Will you be addressing the front entry? There's some little steps that
Driveway steps.
along that flank the driveway, and I'm just curious about your intentions for landscaping.
Do those stay or go away, or do we?
Those go.
Those go away?
Yeah, because now we're going to have a new pedestrian entry from the street. It's
Okay,
not
and
just the
so is that
driveway.
wall going to move out to here, or a wall going to move out to here?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay, other questions? Okay, hearing no other questions, let's go to comments. Who has comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I need some, the elevations are, I guess I'm concerned a little bit of the massing and the bulk of the house. When you combine the two ADU and the new, it's a rather substantial house in terms of the bulk and the visual impact from the street. I'm a little suspicious of your plate height when you have a 1 foot 10 inch space. That's not really how it's going to be. It's more accurately, typically it's 11 or 12 inches, so that's actually probably at 8, almost a 9 foot plate height. But the bulk and massing is just a little much for this neighborhood. That's my first impact or impression. I like the style, but it's a pretty big sized home for this area. Those are my comments.
I think it gets hidden, especially in the front, with the roof that comes up. It's hidden by the roof. A lot of the mass that in the back. If the front looked like the back, yes, you'd have a lot of mass. But because of the addition here is hidden with the roof that comes up, it's set back, so it doesn't look as strong as the back does, and as massive as the two ends. Respect your comment.
Other comments? Yeah, Brian, I understand where you're coming from, and that's the dilemma of this new state law. The new state law doesn't care about what we think, okay? So we can't talk about that. And so we have had several projects to take advantage of that by embedding the ADU into the house form. So unfortunately, we're not allowed to deal with the FAR as a result of that. We're not allowed to deal with the effect of the ADU on the size, bulk, and scale of the house because we're not allowed to look at it. So we have to make believe like we don't see it, which is
Yep.
that, right? Sorry.
That's right.
So that's our dilemma. The state of California has taken away that ability for us to deal with it. And that's, in my opinion, very unfortunate, but that's just a single person's opinion. So we have to rest our determination on the facts in front of us, and that is the remaining pieces of elevation. Even with that, I am concerned about the scale of this house in relationship to the other scale of the other houses in the neighborhood. And that's not to say I'm, against the second story, et cetera. That's not the issue. The issue is the scale issue. And so what would help me immensely is to see a diagram of this house with at least the outside shapes of the two houses on each side. And we appreciate the letters that are coming from the neighbors, but part of our task here is to look at these homes based on the fact that in many cases these will be here a lot longer than the occupants. And so our job is to make sure that it's compatible with the neighborhood and neighborhood preservation. That's why I brought that ordinance up to your attention this morning. We are here to, City Council has enacted a neighborhood preservation ordinance, and we're here to assure that neighborhoods get preserved. And unfortunately, we've got some other circumstances that don't allow us to do certain things. But within the toolbox that we have, we need to pay attention. So I'm going to encourage a request to the designer to come back to us with a streetscape of at least the two other houses on each side so that we can make an assessment of what this differential is here, what effect that has on the scale of this house. Because it's that issue that I think you've all paid attention to. And irregardless, we appreciate the fact that the plate heights are where we want them to be. It's this little thing here that's of concern. So I think that might help us make that assessment. The other thing that might help us assess when you come back is you could show relative, I know you're not going to go out and survey it, but relative juxtaposition of the trees in front of this house against this element.
Sure.
Because it is, the approval process here is for the landscape and the architecture as one. The final composition of this home is based on those two things. That's why the city has us look at landscape plans and at the architecture. And those two things coming together, and we have experts that sit here that know how big trees get. They know what they look like, species and otherwise, so we can determine whether if those trees stay or new trees are added, what that does to the composition of the final house from the street. So that's what I'm concerned about. In general, I think that the style of architecture is probably okay. This is a street directly across the street from this house is a very contemporary house, one story that I don't believe came to this board for review because it wasn't required, or it may have happened before we existed. We've reviewed other houses on this street and have taken the same issues. One of the challenges of this neighborhood is that when it was developed, the developer put these homes on tiers, and they kind of step up the street all the way to the top. And when they graded all of those tiers for each of these houses, they were stepped down. And they all started out in life as single-story homes. Now, 30, 40 years later or more, we're now dealing with folks that want to add second floors. So now we have to look at that in the context, in my view, is if everyone ultimately is going to have a second floor. And are we approving something that would prohibit someone else from having a chance at doing a proper second floor? So that's why I'm trying to get an understanding how that streetscape works. As we've seen in other neighborhoods on the Mesa, we've had the same exercise and we've requested the same piece of information because we've had these homes that continually step down. As they start to continually get filled up with second floors, that's going to be our ongoing challenge to make sure we give everybody a fair crack at this thing. So that would be my biggest concern. Obviously, I want to see details about the chimney cap and the chimney and lights and all those kind of things, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
I have a follow-up.
Comments, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to see why, my questions determined the fact that, we're having a higher ceiling in the living room and the kitchen and that whole living area because the floor raised. I mean, you're raised because you wanted a higher area in there, not because it was required, not because it structurally was required. You raised it because you wanted a higher ceiling in that area. And that's basically raised the whole north elevation, the whole west elevation, and we're supposed to ignore the south elevation because that's basically all ADU. But show me on paper why you raised it from 1 foot to 1 foot 10 inches.
Do you want me to respond right now? Yeah.
Well, I think what would be helpful is just get
Come
us
back with it. Yeah,
a
sure.
section so we understand what's going on.
Give us a second. I think Fred's already asked for a section, so that would satisfy because that's what I'm looking at, it's what Fred's looking at, and what Brian has commented about, this massive. And the massive is caused by raising that, that above that 8 foot that we always try to stay within, that plate height. Now we've got a 8 foot 10.
Okay.
I have one more comment.
Yes.
Yeah, I would recommend if you could do it if possible to lower the top plate height, just bring it down just because of the issues of how this neighborhood's tiered and we're adding second stories. To be sensitive to that, so try to push everything down. Use your creative architectural knowledge. The other comment is on this particular style of architecture. They commonly have a band to differentiate the two floors. They usually don't do siding all the way straight down. So if you study, you might want to break up. Thank you. Put a 1x12 band. That's kind of a thing you see when you see that kind of style of architecture. It really makes it pop. It makes it a good look.
And what it does is it lowers this mass right here.
Right. It's a method to visually get it to lower.
And you might solve my problems with that.
Okay. Other comments? Okay. If there are no other comments, then the chair would look for a motion with comments only. This takes no action today.
Is there just a clarification that I could make?
Yes.
Sure.
So you're right, this whole development does, stair step down.
Right.
The project at 701 Island View was approved through this board. It's up on the corner of it's up on the high portion of it. It kind of is a pretty large, area that comes up there. When you come down to my property, the houses are right next, on the same elevation, essentially. And so they really come down and are in the same lights as well as the one just to the south. So therefore, and the one to the south has this ability for the second story that they can get a 180-degree view if they go up.
I understand. That's why I just want to see a diagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that when you're talking about the plate heights and a 1 foot difference, the difference that this massing is compared to what's been previously approved is hugely less substantial.
And one of the things, because we're all fallible, we don't always do the right things. And sometimes we approve things and we get out there and look at it and, oh my God, why did we do that? So
well, I think it's good. I mean,
every,
I think
every time we're trying to look at it. So I think a diagram will just help us. Okay. All right. So motion with comments, please.
Okay, I will give this, we would like to give this, first of all, it should come back to the full board with the comments that we'd like to see a streetscape that will show your next door neighbors on either side. I'd also like to see showing the trees that are going to stay, trees that might be added, how the remodel is going to impact those trees. And the landscaping that's going to be in the front, including the new walkway, what the material is going to be for that. Color details of the house, the exterior lighting, the front door details, fireplace detail and fireplace cap, how you're going to vent the roof, downspouts and gutters, and also study a way to break up the massing on especially the north elevation, and possibly your plate heights to revisit.
Can I add something to that?
The sandstone wall.
That's the front landscaping, so that goes with the walkway. I think I
Okay, so that's your
touched-
motion.
That's my
We have
motion.
We have a comment to the motion.
I'd like to add, we also have a section through the main part of the house, including the deck, the new addition, and what's existing. It's right through the middle.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that agreeable to the
That's
maker of the motion?
agreeable,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Is there a second to the motion?
Second it.
Okay. Is there further comments to the motion? Hearing none, Chair will call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so carried. Okay, we'll see you when you're able to schedule to come back. Thank you.
Now, as far as the trees, my son is allergic to olive.
Sir,
Yeah.
we're finished with the.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Sorry, I have to
I
move on.
thought that it would be
Okay, you can
further it.
You can explain all of that when you come back with a landscape plan. Okay, thank you. All right, sorry, but we have another item to get to. Okay, let's go to item number 6, 2820 Clinton Terrace. All right. Mr. Oshner, if you could introduce yourself for the record, please.
Good evening. I'm Tom Oxner, project architect.
Okay, this is 2820 Clinton Terrace. This is here for project design approval. Project requires neighborhood preservation findings. Project was last reviewed on August 19th, 2019. Mr. Miller, if you could read comments
Yes.
from our last meeting.
Number 1, the relocation of the stairway is acceptable. Number 2, the replacement of the windows with metal-clad windows of the same size is acceptable. Number 3, the gable over the front door and the front trellises are aesthetically pleasing and will make the house charming. Number 4, study the back deck and consider using a rectangular shape. Number 5, restudy the outdoor staircase. Number 6, show outdoor lighting. Number 7, show any proposed landscaping and plantings, especially if there's any proposed over the trellises. Action taken by Farrell, seconded by Motisha. Motion was carried.
Okay, thank you. So if you could share with us how you would address that
Yes,
list.
I can do that. I can go right down the list. So let's go to the site plan. There was some discussion about a previous, well, I think we can just go to the floor plan here. So previously, we had this where we had a stairway. It was, the shape of the stairway was under discussion, but the
Oh,
owners
yeah.
really want the square, so we studied the rectangular. But what we did do, which was a response to one of the comments, was to reconfigure the stairs so it tucks back in here and it doesn't project so far out into the yard. I think that was a big improvement. Let's see here. Replacement of the windows to metal clad. The windows are metal clad. I went over that with the owners, and they're identified here on the window schedule as metal clad, and all the window openings stayed the same. So there was some, I know there was some comments. I didn't make the minutes, but we went and played with some of the portions on the detailing that Fred had brought up. There was a comment that the trellis over the garage was a bit overscaled, this one here. So we went and brought it down in size, so basically just took it and shrunk it down so that it's more in scale with the detailing of the house. The knee brackets were added around to provide some consistency with the new architectural elements. And I'm going to go to the elevations so we can see that a little more. These are the existing, and these are the proposed. So we've got the knee brackets added in, and then this has been brought down in scale, and they've been included in the rear deck as well. You can see the rear deck has got the detailing. Let's see, what else do we have?
Light fixtures?
Yes, light fixtures. So what we're doing, we've got 3 light fixtures. One on the rear deck here. And, you know, I realized they weren't on the plans. What I've done is I brought a set of plans that actually has the light fixtures on, and it calls out the colors. So if that's all right, if I could swap it out. The only difference is that, Eric, I've got this information now onto a new set of plans. And so it's the same drawings, but it just shows the lights and the color of this.
Wait, okay. We need the plans that are granted project design approval. They can't be substituted at the meeting.
Okay, so then it might have to happen on consent then. But, okay, but basically, so this light right here occurs, one on the back deck right there, and then on the front, right at the entry. There's one here and one right at the entry door of that new porch. And I think there was a comment about landscaping, look at landscaping. I went over that, and there was just no real, we were taking out a little bit of ground cover. The existing entry has a little tiny concrete landing, and the proposed entry is basically enlarging that. So there's a hedge that's actually coming out right up against the house, and I've got a photo of it right here. I'm just going to show you. And the hedge, actually, it's on this one. So it'll clean up the entry, and it's actually taking. Oh yeah, that'll do it. So I think, is there a shot of the front? There we go. So you can see the hedge right at the front door. So, yes, so that's really where that entry gable and trellis will occur. So we're actually, that's coming out, and then the lawn will just continue up to the brick front porch.
That tree is on the property, right?
Yes, that tree is on the
And that's
property.
remaining.
Yep, and that's remaining, yes.
Okay, and in the backyard, let's see, the backyard, you get a good shot there.
Yeah, there's a concrete slab underneath the existing
there's-
trellis
That's all remaining.
it's all remaining. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Pull it over the site plan, please.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
it. The exterior color is this grayish color, and then all of the wood, the windows, the gutters, the trim are all that white.
Is that the color of the fixture?
That is the color of the fixture. It's stainless. That's not the background there. That was just off, but that is the fixture.
Okay, anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right, before we go to comments and questions, is there anyone in the room that wants to address this project? And Erica, did we get any correspondence?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and I see no one come forward. The chair will close public comment and bring it back to the board for questions. Who has questions? Anyone? Yes, Lisa.
Yes, thank you. Can you please explain, the hedge is coming out and the lawn will be going right up to the wall? I'm a little unclear about that.
Okay, I think I've got a pretty good photo of that right here. So this kind of shows the lawn that's out there, and so we have this hedge is coming out, and then this is where we have the gable and then the porch occurring. So really, they like the lawn coming right up to the edge of the porch. And so this is that hedge that will be coming out right here. And so it basically takes that gable and then the trellis that's attached to the gable and just kind of creates an outdoor typical front porch to it.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, no other questions. Let's go to comments. The applicant's requesting project design approval. Yes, Lisa.
It's an awful lot of lawn to irrigate.
Okay. Other comments? I think we're where we need to be. It's unfortunate your client is not considering dealing with these lawns. We live in an area where drought is always on us, even though this year, or last year we had a good rain. We don't know whether we'll have good rain this year. So really would be encouraging them to at least reconsider their front yard at minimum. But that's not part of this application, and I don't think we're in a position to require it. I understand the rules. So short of that, I think they've addressed everything that we asked them to, and I think they did one thing that Mr. Ochner didn't point out, is he solved the problem of the square deck and the window. The last time he was here, I think go to the floor plan, there was a problem of the deck hitting the window, and so he actually solved the problem by moving the window over. So now it kind of, that's also where it is. I think it's unfortunate there's a square deck there, but that's what they want. And it's not, it's within our 15 feet guideline from the side, and it's not highly visible, et cetera, but it is what it is. Okay, any other comments?
This is not right then, correct?
What's that?
Because this picture of this deck shows it rectangular.
This is just a photo board that I had put together.
So it's out of date?
Yeah, this is just a.
It's here for the photograph.
A reference of where the photos are taken from.
Sorry, I got it.
Okay. All right, any other comments? If not, then the chair would look for a motion. The applicant is requesting project design approval. If you choose to give a project design approval, you may want to indicate where it will land for final approval.
I have one more comment. I apologize. It's been bothering me, and I just need to bring it up. The gray color for the house, for the main body of the house, seems to be a very popular color. Does anyone have is it, I don't know.
It's kind of like glass garage doors. Everybody's doing it.
Okay, there you go.
We got all kinds of gray houses in town. That'll be a fad, and at some point they'll come back and we'll have fuchsia or something. Pink. Or pink, whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Other comments? Yes, Lisa.
No, I was going to offer to make a motion.
Okay, if you want to make a motion, please.
All right, the board would like to give this project design approval to return to consent. We appreciate you coming to us with reconfigured stair detail. I can't read my writing. Please return showing us lighting, something about the trellis. I can't read my writing. And this project has NPO, I'd like to make the NPO findings that the project is consistent with the character of the neighborhood, is compatible with the surrounding homes in the area, uses quality architecture and materials, and observes good neighbor guidelines. Do I need to define the neighborhood?
We need to define the neighborhood, and I'm going to make a couple of other suggestions, but define the neighborhood first.
Okay, the neighborhood as defined by La Paloma, is that the state? Sorry, Las Positas de la Vina, and what's the lower street? Samarkand?
Samarkand Drive.
You go Vernon and
Vernon.
Treasure Drive.
Okay.
That's essentially the Samarkand neighborhood. Okay.
And Mr. Chair, if you'd like to add.
Just out of practice, not that it's specifically important to this project, but when you make the material decision, you should indicate that the roofing material, the roofing shape is conducive to the other homes in the immediate neighborhood, because it's basically a hip roof. There's all kinds of hip roofs.
Mm-hmm.
You might also indicate that the color scheme is conducive to the neighborhood, and with the fact that the house right next door also has a gray and white composition color, as indicated on the photographs on sheet PB1. Okay. So what I'm going to try to encourage you to do is to make more specific comments when you make the neighborhood compatibility, other than just to say it's compatible. That if any of our things get appealed to council, it gets to council and they're sitting there going, what were you guys really thinking? So that's why I'm just encouraging you to be a little more descriptive. Okay, that's the motion. Okay, is there a second to the motion?
Yes, second.
Okay, does anyone need the motion reread? No? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions, so carried. Okay. Okay.
Yes, we're going to get out of here reasonably.
So we're within close to 15 minutes. Okay. Let's go to item number 7, 635 Castillo Street. Okay. Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
If you could identify yourself for the record, please.
I'm Lori Kari, architect for 635 Castillo.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Kay, if you'll introduce yourself for the record, please.
My name is John Kay.
I need you to speak into the microphone because it's all recorded. Thank you.
John Kay, if you wish to know a little bit about me, I'm a retired political science professor at the City College. I'm the owner of the house at 635 Castillo Street. I'm doing my best to bring it up to code and repair it and make it I think, an example in the neighborhood of something that's quite attractive. So we've been at it for a year, and I believe I've employed some very quality people to help me in doing that.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to have Mr. Miller read our comments from our last review.
Yeah, number one, the 34 square foot addition is aesthetically appropriate. Number two, a minor zoning exception for the trash enclosure is appropriate. Number three, applicant to return with a type of window replacements and door replacements. Number four, provide a landscape plan. Number five, the board generally defines the neighborhood as the area bounded by Carrillo Street, De La Vina Street, and the 101 Highway. Number six, the appropriateness of the small 34 square foot addition is germane to the general uses found in this neighborhood. Action taken by James, seconded by Motisha. I was absent.
Okay, thank you. All right, so there were a few things we wanted you to study, so if you want to go over those, please.
Correct. So we do have a color material board. There you have it. And we are going with, I'm sorry, the Colby clad exterior, doors and windows. And that's in the chutney color, which is some variation on red. And our also our entry door and our laundry rear door will be in the similar color of, I believe it's a Benjamin Moore, Crabby Apple.
That's Sherwin-Williams.
Sherwin-Williams. Okay. And then our siding will be this nice gentle color. And our trims on the doors and windows and our columns and the wainscot trim band will be this, a Great Barrington Green. And sort of came off of this look of these compatible colors, and
That's not
we
the
thought
house,
that
but
was
that's
rather lovely.
the scheme that I would like to have, the paint scheme.
And Dr. K has created a landscape plan. There already is some existing landscaping, and he has some additions to it.
Is there a plan on
There should be.
Right here, okay.
Here's the,
Yeah, explain it.
Okay.
where to begin, maybe entering from the street, I hope to have a small amount of, first of all, as you enter the street, you have 2 large avocado trees on each side of the entrance going in. They're remarkably productive avocado trees and very healthy. One is a Fuerte and the other is a Haas. I don't know if you have it there in the front. And then as you enter, coming in on the path from the street, I hope to have 2 patches of a ground cover, a drought-tolerant ground cover. It's called Carapia. If you're familiar with it at all, it's in front of the Episcopal Church in Santa Barbara. I'm not putting a lot in, maybe 10 feet by 12 on each side. That's be about 120 feet twice, 240 square feet at the most on each patch. And then I'd leave the avocado trees alone, open with maybe a little gravel around them. As you go down the right side on the interior of the house, I hope to have a flagstones covering a part of it. And then near the fence line, I'm putting some agaves in. Right now I have some agaves interspersed along there, hopefully very tastefully, and the rest would be some type of gravel. I also have some geranium plants that are drought tolerant in there as well to give a little bit of color. And that goes all the way to the back. Leaving that open right now because there may be a little gate from where we have the garbage disposal and yard waste disposal. And so that would be open right now, but there'd be some gravel in there and some plants. On the sidewalk, I hope to put, not sidewalk, it's called the parkway. My apologies. On the parkway, yes, I hope to have some, what is it called, California gravel, the sand-colored gravel?
California Gold.
California Gold, and interspersed with some stethis. That picture that you have over there that you just have the marker on, the one at the bottom right, that's taken from on Los Olivos, Laguna and Los Olivos. That's at Alistair Wynn's house. Right. So, and I hope to replicate that along the parkway. So gravel, status is a low tolerant. It looks quite nice, and it'll be that way along probably both sides of the parkways, except for that bulb out above.
Here.
First picture on the top, yeah. That's all pretty well been completed right now. I've already restored it with 3 5-gallon statuses. I put some Society garlic in there that's growing nicely, and some lavender-colored lantana. So that top one is already filled in, and then any small amounts would be added. So that's what the exterior would look like. I think that it's fitting, and it's probably would have been one of the better little corner landscapes in the neighborhood, to be honest with you, flat out truth. And that's certainly what you want. So that takes care of the little bulb out, I'm calling that one at the top, and then the parkway will look like that. There are 2 jacaranda trees that the city has put in on those parkways, one on the Ortega side and one on the Castile side on the parkway. Both are pretty healthy and flourishing right now. So on the left side, going into the house, going in the main entrance, and then taking a left at the front and going into the left side, where we have established a kind of a porch or veranda, what word would you call that? Balcony or something.
A deck.
A deck, right? And around it will be flagstones, and I am putting a hedge between the neighbor. The neighbor is a good friend of mine. I've known him for years. He's a professor of history at the City College. His name is Matthew Mooney. So we're very good friends, get along. And he had some what they call Texas privet. Is that the name of the? And he's got them in, so I'll continue. And I've already put one in along there. So that's an ambitious plan, but I think it's a lovely plan. Along the front left of the fence line, the fence, there it is right there, is I think a lovely hedge. It's called the proper name is, well, it's a lavender starflower is what it is. And it's a Grua occidentalis. It's this hedge right here, if you can. That's a remarkably, it doesn't take much water, and it's cut it an awful lot, to be honest with you. But it has nice, lovely little purple flowers on it, and possibly extend that along the other fence line. But I'm open to questions if you have any about that. Been working at this for a while. I have it in writing here if you wish, and we have it also spelled out in our map.
Okay.
So the little E's meaning where existing things already are.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Okay, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the project? And Erica, did we get any written correspondence?
No, Mr. Chair, and can I just clarify, it was not included on the agenda. This project requires a minor zoning exception, so if you could include those findings.
Yeah, that was going to be a question from me to you, and I'll elaborate on the minute, but there's no other public input, then the chair will close public comment and bring it back to the board for questions. So this is, I know last time we said we thought it was okay, but this is the meeting, if we choose to give it project final, that we actually have to make and do we have some wording for that we're supposed to follow?
Oh, for the minor zoning exception?
Yeah. So if we do, you might get that out. Okay, let's go to, does anyone have questions? Okay. Any comments?
Mr. Chair, are you a recent owner of this home?
No. I can't tell you the exact number of years, but over 20 years. It was trash, if to be honest with you, and candid.
I heard an interesting story. I park by this house every morning when I go to work. So
Well, you're lucky to find a parking spot.
Yeah.
Your microphone's not on.
Yes, but I'm very excited what you're doing for the house.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Jonathan.
Based on your presentation, I'm sorry I was never a student of yours.
Thank you for that.
I really like, I think your color choices and the doors and window choices are really pretty. And I think it's going to be a really nice addition to this neighborhood.
Okay.
We agree.
I have a quizzical question. The photograph that you showed, the painting scheme you like, did that come from the book, The Bungalow?
It just might have.
There's a great book out that just has bungalows. Yeah, you could have
I got it on
bungalows.
the internet. You're talking about this picture.
Yeah.
I looked at about 100 different pictures, and I kind of like this one, and it's not that far from what it originally was.
Can I see it?
So, any other comments? Okay. My only comment is
Wonderful.
Dr. K also has other property owns, but he actually owns one of the most famous walls in the city of Santa Barbara. Or it's actually, the wall is in the county, but
We know which one.
yes, it's the Scottish picket wall, affectionately known by most all of us as the Stegosaurus Wall on Mission
Across the
Canyon
street
Road.
from Rocket- That's my boyhood home.
Right, Rockingham Park. And he's done a wonderful job. So I trust that the landscaping he's described here will be as good as the landscaping he has at that home.
I also put Karapi in that place too.
That's the wall that, and the turn right there that goes over the creek?
Right at the bridge.
So you,
the one
so
with
you
the-
live right behind
I don't live there, I rent it. But,
Rent it, yeah.
my wife and I live on.
It's the one with the beautiful,
rock and,
well, and in the springtime when the
Wisteria.
wisteria blooms, it's magnificent, which I've hated about 10 times now. Okay, let's go to, if there are no further comments, then the chair would look for a motion. The applicant is requesting project design and final approval. And if you choose to do that, we have wording for the minor zoning exception for the trash enclosure that will need to be read into the motion.
Okay, all right. I'd like to give this project design and final approval today. We just think you've done a beautiful job in keeping the character of the neighborhood and the color scheme in your landscape plan. We appreciate that you're using drought-tolerant plants that will be able to withstand if we have another dry winter or two. And I think we are all in agreement that the minor zoning exception for the trash enclosure is acceptable, and I know there's some specific wording I have to include in my motion for that. That the improvements are cited such that they minimize impacts to abutting properties. The project generally complies with applicable privacy, landscaping, noise, and lighting standards in the Single Family Design Board Good Neighbor Guidelines, and the improvement will be compatible with the existing development and character of the neighborhood. You've followed Good Neighbor Guidelines in your design of this place. The consistency in appearance and quality materials used. The trees are going to be left, which is fantastic, and the health, safety, and welfare of the public is not impacted.
That's your motion.
That's my motion.
Okay, do I have a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay. I got Jonathan, I think, louder than Brian.
Okay.
Erica, did we cover everything we needed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion of the motion on the floor? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions, so carried. Okay, you get to go to the building department finally.
Dr. K, when did you start
Is there
teaching
any
at
further
City
business
College?
before?
When did you start teaching
I
it?
started teaching full-time at 1960.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And stopped in 2007.
I had you as a teacher.
Must have got an A.
Let me adjourn. the
He's got to
meeting.
finish this.
Go, let me
Before
adjourn.
we-
Is
before
there
we
any
have-
further business before the board today?
Small
If
thoughts.
not, the meeting is adjourned. Okay, now turn your microphone.